Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. I can't believe that we have already made it through the entire month of February. I don't know where the last 2 months have gone, honestly. It feels like it has just flown by. I think when you're doing something like the pantry challenge, it really does remind you of how quickly time passes you by and how important it is to really be intentional with the things that we're doing during the course of that time. I had hoped that I could share with you my pantry makeover before the challenge was over, but even though I've gotten my pantry organized and rearranged and things are looking pretty good, I am still working on the curtains that I'm going to put up over the front of them. So stay tuned. Even though it won't be during the pantry challenge, I will share that with you eventually as soon as I get that finished. But hopefully that's before next year's pantry challenge. Let me know in the comments down below, how has the challenge gone for you? What are some things that you learned during the course of the challenge, and what are some things that you did really well that you are excited to share with others? I will link down below some of our past videos during the course of the pantry challenge. We've talked a lot about why you need to have an extended pantry, some different items to include in your pantry, some different things that you can stock up on, and just some overall tips for kind of organizing and keeping things going the right way. Today I want to share with you 5 pantry mistakes that I have either discovered during the course of this pantry challenge or things that I have had to work on in the past. In addition, I'm going to be sharing with you some recipes today that are a little bit lower carb, and hopefully that can be a benefit to you as well. The first pantry mistake that I wanted to talk about is not labeling your items with date. If you are doing home canned goods, it is so important to write the date up on the top of your jar. If you are not dating things, you're not going to know how long it's been on the shelf, and you're not going to know if it's maybe something that needs to be rotated out or if it's something that's still going to be good for you to eat. I also would recommend dating items that you bring in from the store as well. So if you're bringing in canned items or other items in bulk, you want to make sure that you're labeling either the best by date or the use by date clearly on the front. Those items already are going to have a date on the package, but sometimes it's hard to see that date and it's just not very clear. And when you're trying to go through and organize your pantry, the last thing that you want to be doing is trying to dig around and find out what the expiration is on that particular food item. So by labeling things on the front of the can or on the front of the package, it's going to make it so much easier as you're trying to bring in new items to restock, and you want to make sure that you're rotating that. The second pantry mistake that I have made in the past is improper rotation. And as I already alluded to, if I don't have dates on things, that can definitely be a contributing factor to not rotating properly. The other thing that contributes to not rotating properly is just not having a system in place to kind of keep things organized. If you are a person who can pull things out and put your newest items to the back, then that's a great strategy for you. If that's hard for you to do, you might want to designate 2 different sides of whatever area you're going to store your items in so that you can have a spot for your most recent additions and then a spot for the older things that you're using. But if you just put your new items in front, you're going to end up with items that are much older down the line that should have actually been used first. And I have definitely been guilty of this. I've had some canned goods where at my old house I had a pantry that was really deep, and so it was harder to kind of keep things organized because everything went back so far. And during the throes of canning season, I got in a hurry and put some of the new things in the front rather than pulling everything out and rotating properly. And then later down the road, I found out that I had some older items that really should have been used first. So do check on rotation and make sure that you are incorporating that into your pantry organization. Not something to be neglected. Today we're going to be preparing a chicken, which is really nice so that I can have the leftover meat for future meals. So just to keep things simple, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the crock pot. That way it can be cooking while I'm busy doing other things. And you know, it doesn't get as crispy on top, but it will definitely have a great flavor. So to start, we're gonna put together a little paste to go on top. I am using some rosemary olive oil. We'll put probably about 3 tablespoons in there. I'm not precisely measuring today, so we'll see how this goes. And to that, I'm gonna go ahead and add some crushed garlic, or minced garlic rather. I love garlic, so I have a tendency to use just a little too much, if there even is such a thing. We're gonna use some herbs de Provence for the seasoning. Again, I'm just gonna throw some in here till I think it looks good. We're gonna put some black pepper. And I'm going to put a little lemon zest. Then I'm gonna go ahead and slice the lemon into wedges. And we're gonna take the wedges and a little bit of the onion wedges, and then I'm gonna put some rosemary sprigs, and we're gonna go ahead and stuff that inside the chicken. I have already removed all of the innards, so everything has been cleaned there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stuff the entire rosemary sprig as well. I think we'll put 2 of those in there. We will go ahead and mix our mixture up here, and you can see that's going to make a nice paste that can top the chicken. And I just want to put some of this all around. I love garlic, so I tend to use a little more than maybe some people do, so you can kind of play with the flavor, and if you don't like it as much, you could use less, or if you didn't want to use any garlic, you could skip that. It really is flexible. And I have a little bit of onion that's diced a bit finer, and I'm gonna just sprinkle that over the top. Now we should have some great flavor inside and out, which will make this meat delicious and very usable for multiple meals. All right, we are set. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on low, and I'll let it cook for about 6 hours. We'll check it, see how close it is to being done. I may let it go a little longer, we'll see. So it actually ended up cooking down about 8 hours. I got a little bit busy doing something else, and so I didn't have a chance to come on in and check on it. So about 8 hours later, it is definitely ready to go. You can see here it's pulling away, and it's just gonna fall right off the bone. Well, let's see what we can do here. The beauty of having a pantry is that even though I was running late today and I didn't have my other sides ready to go, I have green beans that were in the pantry. I could just heat those up and serve that with my chicken, and it was a super easy meal. The third pantry mistake that I have made is not maintaining an inventory. This is something that I'm still trying to work on, and I can't say that I have perfected this. I know in the past I've tried to kind of keep track of how many items I've canned or some things that I have brought in, but usually I start out really excited about that, and then maybe harvest season comes on full bore and I just start kind of getting things put up, but I'm not going ahead and maintaining that inventory. So then I don't know how many items I actually canned of each thing. If you are maintaining some type of an inventory, it's going to help you to plan for the following year. If you know, for example, that you canned 20 pints of beans and then you've used all 20 before summer hits, then you're going to know maybe you need to add more than 20 into your next year's stock. I have a delicata squash that I've been needing to go ahead and use up. So today we are going to roast it and serve it with some of the leftover chicken. I went ahead and sliced off the ends, then we're going to slice it lengthwise. We were aiming for center. Didn't quite make it, but that's right. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop the seeds out. And then we're going to just go ahead and slice these about 1/2 inch wide, probably. All right, what's nice about the delicata squash is that you don't have to remove the outer edge. We can leave that on there. And then we're just going to put these on a pan to roast. I like to put foil on it with a little bit of olive oil. Makes cleanup really nice. And it does help it to not stick. Once you have them layered on the pan, I'm just going to drizzle with a little olive oil. I have some rosemary infused olive oil, and I just like the way that it adds a little bit to the flavor. We'll put a little bit on there, a little fresh pepper. And if you want, you could add a touch of salt. And that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and bake this at 425 for about 20 minutes, turn them over, and then we'll probably do another 15 to 20 minutes. That turned out amazing. This is really tender and should go really well with the chicken. I went ahead and followed that up with some more green beans, and that will be this meal. The fourth pantry mistake that I have made from time to time is letting some of the stock get too low. And it kind of goes back to not maintaining an inventory. There have been times where I thought I had more of something and I really didn't. And so then, you know, maybe you go to grab that item and you're in the middle of making a recipe or in the middle of making a meal and oh, you can't find it anywhere and you didn't know that you were out or you didn't know that you were that low. So just being mindful of the items that I'm using on a regular basis and making sure that I actually have something in the extended pantry to help me out and to get me through. For tonight's dinner, we're going to go ahead and heat up some of the chicken and make a taco salad. I put a little olive oil in the pan. We had a lot of great flavor on here already, but I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of chili powder. And a little bit of cumin. We'll go ahead and mix that up, heat that up, and then I will show you how we put together the salad. I harvested some lettuce from the garden and went ahead and spun that so it's all dry and good to go. I like to start with a nice bed of lettuce. We're gonna add that chicken on top. Take a few black beans, rinsed and drained and rinsed. We'll top that with a little bit of shredded cheese. That's optional, of course. You could definitely leave it off if you wanted to. A few olives, a little minced onion, And for the final touch, a dollop of sour cream. And my favorite, salsa. This is a great go-to meal. I like it with chicken, and then of course if you had ground beef or something, you could do that same thing just with your ground beef. The fifth pantry mistake is not balancing what is in the pantry. So sometimes we get too much of one item and not enough of another. This can be something that just naturally occurs if you have a really good harvest of one particular item. So maybe your pear tree produces really well, or the apple trees produce really well, or you get a lot of green beans. And so you can all of those up, and that's totally fine and definitely something that you want to be doing. The idea that's kind of coming to mind for me is tomatoes. I like to can salsa, and there have been times where I haven't really paid attention to what I already have in the pantry, and I might put all of the tomatoes into salsa rather than diversifying my tomato products a little bit and canning some chili sauce, spaghetti sauce, tomato sauce, some of those other kinds of items. And so I get a lot of one thing, which I don't think you can ever have too much salsa, but I end up not having some of the other items that I do use on a somewhat regular basis. So those are 5 pantry mistakes that I have made. Feel free to share down below if there's some type of mistake that you have made or something that you've had to watch out for as you've been organizing your pantry. I hope you enjoyed today's video. This pantry challenge has been amazing, and I really have enjoyed it, and will continue to make an intentional and conscious effort to head to the pantry first before deciding to go to the grocery store and pick something up. If today's video was helpful, don't forget to like, and I would love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here. Until next time, bye everyone.